Hi, I'm Jay Silber for the Haifa Report. The Israeli Knesset, the parliament in Israel, has declared October 27, 2026 as the election day in Israel. An election in Israel is very, very different from elections in other countries like the United States, where we vote for individual candidates running for president or the U.S. Senate or the House of Representatives. Here in Israel, we vote for a party that best represents our views, and that party has names attached to it. It is now early August, so less than 3 months before the election. It's important to point out these dates because things change here very quickly, and the number of seats held by parties currently in the Knesset will change before the election as individual members change parties or even start new ones. There are 120 seats in the Israeli Knesset. The Likud party, headed by Benjamin Netanyahu, currently holds 32 seats in the Knesset. For Netanyahu to have become prime minister, Likud had to form a coalition government with other parties to achieve a minimum majority of 61 seats. In his coalition at the moment is the religious Zionist party headed by far-right activist Bezalel Smotrich, who is both Minister of Finance and a minister in the Defense Department running COGAT, C-O-G-A-T, the military organization that controls the population of Palestinians in the occupied territories and Gaza. Also in the governing coalition is the Shas party, led by Aryeh Deri, with 11 seats. The United Torah party, led by another controversial cabinet minister, the far-right Minister of National Security, Itamar Ben-Gvir, with 7 seats. You can learn more about Ben-Gvir by watching episode 5 of the Haifa Report. Now, if you're counting, that's 64 seats in the Knesset belonging to the Netanyahu coalition. But if any one party pulls out, the Netanyahu government falls. And that gives these small far-right parties in the coalition tremendous power. More on that later. The current opposition is made up of the Yesh Atid party, headed by Yair Lapid with 24 seats, the Blue and White National Unity Party, headed by Benny Gantz with 12 seats, the Israel Beitenu party, headed by Avigdor Lieberman with 6 seats, and the Labor Party with 4 seats. Now, Labor deserves special attention for those of you new to Israeli politics. Its foundation was with the Mapai party of David Ben-Gurion, Israel's much revered first prime minister. Labor dominated Israeli politics for a generation. Prime ministers included Ben-Gurion, Levi Eshkol, Golda Meir, and Yitzhak Rabin, and its socialist roots were an important part of the history of the State of Israel. However, by 1977, the right with Menachem Begin began to rise, and it spelled the end of Labor's domination of politics. And finally, in the opposition, there is Hadash Ta'al, a combination of smaller Arab parties with 5 seats, and the United Arab List headed by Mansour Abbas with 5 seats. So the opposition, including the Arab parties, totals 56 seats, compared to 64 for the governing coalition. What's attracting Israelis' attention at the moment are the way parties are changing and evolving. For example, right now, a former military leader named Gadi Eisenkot has formed a new party called Yashar. It's a centrist party, and at least one Likud member has already joined it. Then there is the merger of the Labor and the Meretz party. Meretz isn't currently in the Knesset, but the merged party is calling itself the Democrats. They are a left-of-center party, and their membership consists of people who loudly protest many of the policies of the Netanyahu government. I needed to learn how to vote in Israel, and for that I asked my friends David and Neely King to help me figure that out.
I'm David, originally from Philadelphia. I've lived in Israel since 1976, though I relocated back to the States 3 times. But most of the time I've been here.
Dr. King, Neely, tell us about yourself.
My name is Nili, and I grew up in kibbutz Matsuba, and that most of my life I lived in Israel, and that I am retired, but I have a PhD in molecular biology.
But you're active in politics.
If you call this active, I would say that my job is really minor, okay? I do select to be part of the Democratic Party, which is aligned as closely to my view.
Now, before we get into what's going to happen, let's talk about what I'm going to see. I'm a new voter. I've never voted in Israel before.
Right.
I'm going to walk into a place. I don't know where that is. And what am I going to see? Where is it and what am I going to see?
Even before you get to, in Hebrew it's called a kalpi, even before you get to the polling place, you're going to start seeing lots of advertisements. You're going to see advertisements that they put up on the buses and signs and on bridges and all kinds of places. And there is a budget that's allocated to each of the parties, and they get a budget for television advertising.
Mm-hmm.
So you will see in the lead up to the election, there will be a period of time when every party, when they will have the election propaganda, that's what it's called in Hebrew, election propaganda, and then everybody will have some time where they can have their election advertising on public television. And every time that they have an advertisement, every time you see some kind of sign, you will see that they have a picture of a slip of paper with a couple of letters on it, anywhere from 1 to 3 or 4 letters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you'll find on the slips of paper when you go into the polling place. You'll see the letters, the big letters, and underneath you'll have a party name.
Okay. Right.
And the reason they do it that way is because once upon a time, perhaps less so today, lots of people couldn't read.
Mm-hmm.
But if they didn't have to read, they just had to recognize 2 or 3 letters.
Gotcha.
And then they could take that, you put it into an envelope, close the envelope, and then you come out from behind the screen where you chose it, and you put it into a locked box with a slit on the top, and when you drop that into the box, you have voted.
Okay, that's what I'll do. But I learned something really important. If a party gets less than 3.25% of the total vote, they don't get any seats in the Knesset.
In order for a party to have any representation in the Knesset, they must pass that 3.25% threshold. If they do not pass the threshold, it is as if they were not there at all. So any votes that somebody may have cast for a party that doesn't cross the threshold are completely thrown out.
Wow.
But that's why a lot of one of the point is that do not vote for a party that is not going to get 3.25, okay? Because that will be a waste. It's like you didn't do anything. And right now there's at least 2 or even more than that party which do not pass this threshold. Gantz, for example, okay, and people are like, why won't you say, I cannot do that, I will not pass the threshold, and just tell the people who vote for you, vote for somebody else. You can recommend, say, this is closer to my point of view, but right now he is not.
You're referring to Benny Gantz.
Benny Gantz.
But as Neely and David point out, things change very quickly. Stay tuned. And in our next episode, we'll explore what the future might hold after these elections. But for now, I needed to know where to vote.
Okay, you should, and everybody that is a voter should get a card, okay, from the Minister of Interior, which say, where is your poll? What is your number on the poll? Okay, so that you know where to get there to vote. Okay, otherwise it's going to be a chaos. Okay.
Well, when you say my number on the poll, what does that mean?
Right, okay, so when you go to a typical polling place where we vote, it's one of the schools, okay? Now in every school, there are several different rooms where voting is taking place, because if you want to put everybody in the same room, it would just be chaos. So when you get to the school, you need to know which room to go to. So they have the number of your poll, and then when you get to the school, it'll say, here's the poll number, and this is the room that it's in.
Gotcha.
So that will tell you which room to go to, and then you will have a serial number on that piece of paper as well, So when you go to your poll, they can look you up in the list and it's easier for them to find you. You do not need this card in order to vote. It's not required, it's just supposed to be there to help. What you do need in order to vote is you have to have an official identity card.
Right.
It has to be an official, what they call Teudat Zahut, identity card from the Ministry of the Interior. You can't use your driver's license. It has to be the official identity card.
So, soon I'll get a card from the Department of the Interior telling me where to vote and in what room to vote, and I'll do my part in the election. What kind of place will this be after the elections? There are lots of possibilities, and some of them have world-shaking consequences. So in episode 7 of the Haifa Report, we'll look at the future. That episode will be available a few weeks before the election. For now, this is Jay Silber for the Haifa Report, and as we say here in Israel, the Hitraot. See you next time.